welcome back to the Maybe a Better One in Its YouTube channel. Today we are talking about fall. It is the first post-Labor Day weekend and I have already declared it fall, and it is actually pretty fallish here in Maryland. So it is currently 72 degrees at 2 p.m. So that is pretty fallish. I'm sure it won't last, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So it is time to start thinking and planning and talking about fall. So today I'm going to be sharing my fall mood board, and I'm going to give you a little background as to how I go about making it, and then I'm going to be sharing 5 knitting patterns and 5 sewing patterns that I think fit in well with my mood board and that maybe you will find inspiring as well. So if that sounds like it's of interest to you, I hope you will stick around. All right, so my fall mood board. I have been making a handmade wardrobe inspiration mood board for the fall/winter for the last couple of years. I sometimes do it for the spring, summer too, but it is just not, it's just not as inspiring, I guess, because while I do sew, and I have been sewing for a couple of years, knitting is really the big thing. And I'm not getting excited about knitting in the spring, but I do sometimes do it in the spring as well, but mostly for the fall. And this is inspired by Seamworks Designer Wardrobe process, which if you are a Seamwork member, you should definitely check out. Seamwork is for sewing patterns, obviously, but it just kind of helps you come up with a bit of a theme, or at least a feeling, a vibe, if you will, for the, as the youths say, for your handmade wardrobe inspiration for the upcoming season. So the way that I personally do this is for a few weeks, usually beginning in August, I just start pinning tons of stuff to my Pinterest board. I create, a Pinterest board for fall mood board, and I just start pinning anything that says fall to me. I will do some searches like fall aesthetic or fall fashion, anything. And it doesn't have to be just clothes. It can be, landscape scenes, it can be textures, it can be colors, just anything that really is speaking to me about, or speaking, anything that really says fall to me and seems like the kind of vibe I want to get into in fall. So I just do that for a few weeks, and then I start narrowing it down in order to create the mood board. So I will show you a little bit of that process here. So here is my autumn 2024 Pinterest board, where I have pinned, as I said, basically anything that just said autumn to me. So a lot of fashion stuff, but also some colors, some textures, some fabrics. I think there's some florals in here that just have a nice color theme. Anything that sort of struck my mood as being what I want to capture for this fall. Sometimes these things are just not very practical. They're not very aligned with my lifestyle. Or I'll notice something, there's an overall kind of look to it, but something kind of stands out as not being really in line with everything else. So at this point, I'm going to start narrowing down and getting rid of pins that just don't fit. They aren't the vibe I'm going for. They're, maybe still very fallish, but they're not the vibe I'm going for in particular for this fall. Something like maybe it's very outdoorsy, and I'm not a super outdoorsy person. I'm not going to eat pancakes outside in the fall with my mug of coffee. That's not who I am as a person. So at this point, as I said, going through, narrowing things down, getting rid of stuff that isn't practical for me, and I don't want to be kind of inspiring my fall journey. Now, based on my narrowed down mood board and the colors I'm seeing, I'm going to start making a color palette for the fall season. So the big things that I noticed in my mood board are definitely kind of a burnt orange rust color. So you can see that's the first color that I'm putting in my palette here. trying to really hone in on, I don't want it too orange, but I don't want it too red. So playing around with that a little bit, but definitely sort of that rusty orange red color. And then the next one that I identified pretty quickly is a teal, sort of a darker teal. So those are the ones that really jumped out at me in just a lot of the photos that are on my mood board. So those are the first two that I picked out for my palette. Then I went back to review and picked up a couple of other colors that were coming through, kind of a darker red, ultimately a navy blue, and also I need some neutrals. So the neutrals I settled on for this season are black, sort of an off-white, and then a light gray. Once I've finished messing with everything, here is basically how my color palette turned out in the end. I did go back and forth trying to get the exact kind of teal color I wanted, and you know, but again, it's not an exact science. It doesn't have to be perfect. Here it is. The last step is to actually create the mood board. So this is my mood board from last fall, and this is what I'm going to be trying to do again, pulling in images off my Pinterest board and fixing them up into kind of a collage, adding in my color palette, and there will be my inspiration for the season. Obviously, I have a lot of photos on the mood board. I'm not going to be able to use them all, so I'm just going to be trying to pull in photos like this that are really kind of combining a lot of the different elements that I want. So the colors, the shapes, the silhouettes, the textures. I'm going to pick some photos that are specific patterns that I like, that I definitely want to make for the fall. Certainly not every single thing I'm going to make for the fall, but specific things that I know I absolutely do want to make. I'm maybe going to grab a couple of the fabrics, pictures that are there, some of the overall vibe pictures, you know, these cozy sweaters maybe are definitely going to be the vibe that I want for fall. This kind of like 70s aesthetic in the corduroys and the Fry boots and the Beatles albums. So I'm just going to go through, try to focus in on the most specific photos that are the most relevant so that I can put them in my mood board, because I just want to have, you know, I can still go back to my Pinterest board and look at that for inspiration, but I want to have something that is putting everything together in one picture that I will probably ultimately print out and have to look at throughout the season. So that is the final process in creating my mood board. And now I will go ahead and share my finished mood board with you. And I'm going to go ahead and keep it, you know, in the corner up here, so for a few minutes, so I can just speak to it a little bit. So as you can see, it's very knit heavy. It is not all fashion stuff. We have a few other things in here, but it definitely has a cozy vibe. We can see a lot of blues and kind of burnt orange, rust, maroons coming through. I did include a couple of specific patterns that I want to make, but other things that I've included are just, you know, it's kind of the vibe that I am going for the fall. So cozy, obviously, it's the fall. I tried not to be either too urban or too rural, because that's just not where I am in life. I live in the suburbs, so I don't live in the city. I don't have an occasion to get dressed up a lot. I don't need work clothes and things like that. I also don't live in the country, so I'm not like, you know, riding around on tractors and camping and doing those kinds of things either. So even though they have a nice cozy fall feel, I try to just kind of keep a lot of that out of my mood board at this time. In the past, I have found it a little bit distracting, and kind of narrowed things down here to be reasonable for my life and my lifestyle. You can see in the bottom corner, I've got my color palette specifically laid out, which is like a rust burnt orange, navy blue, a dark teal, kind of maroon, red brown, a
a little bit of a pale blue, and then some neutrals at the bottom, which is just kind of an off-white, a gray, and black. Not everything that I end up making for the fall is going to be in tune with this, of course, but this is just kind of giving me some general inspiration for what I want things to look like this fall, and I guess winter a little bit too. I won't create a separate mood board for winter. That would be a bit much. This will just give me a nice framework, some color guidance for how I'm going to move forward with my handmade wardrobe planning. So that is my personal mood board for this season. And now I'm going to share 5 knitting patterns and 5 sewing patterns that I think are kind of in keeping with this board, are going to be great for fall, even if, you know, this is not your particular mood board. Maybe you have your own mood board, maybe you just like pattern inspiration. So I will do the knitting patterns first. So if you are, you know, only a knitter and not a sewist, you can skip the sewing patterns at the end. The sewing patterns are a shirt, pants, a skirt, dress, and jacket. But all the knitting patterns are sweaters, of course. What else, you know? I mean, that's just who I am. I am a sweater knitter. All right, so as I said, these are all patterns that I think are gonna work, you know, nicely into my personal mood board, but are also just, I think, cute for fall and caught my attention. So I thought I would share them with you. I do have specific plans to make 2 of these. So we'll start with the two I'm definitely going to make. First is the Lulu Slipover. This is a pattern by Petite Knit. I have actually not knit any of her patterns yet, so this would be my first one. I've already purchased it and printed it out, and I have yarn for it. So this is some yarn that I bought when I did my yarn shopping at Joann's experiment looking for wool. This is Eddie Bauer Wool Paca, which is 80% extra fine merino and 20% alpaca. And you can see color is perfect for my mood board. I hope I have enough of this. I feel like I have 3 balls of this, but I can only find 2. However, the 2 that I have still have labels on them, but I swatched already with this yarn. So I mean, I guess I may have put the label back on, but it seems unlikely. So I guess we'll find out. It's 277 yards for each one of those. So that's well over 500 yards, which seems like it should be enough for a vest. So this pattern calls for, this pattern is all over the place. So the yarns listed here for this pattern, there's Peer Gynt by Sandnes Garn, which supposedly is a DK, but it is 100 yards for 50 grams. That seems very heavy for a DK to me. Then there's Peruvian by Filcolana, which is Aran, which is 109 yards for 50 grams. Again, I think that's a little thin for a worsted, for supposedly an Aran weight. So I really think this is, I don't know. The gauge is 5 stitches to the inch, which seems very reasonable for the yarn that I have. And, you know, if you get gauge and you like the fabric, it doesn't really matter what the label on the yarn says. The only issue is, will I have enough? And we will find out. So this is, this pattern is worked from the top down. So the good news is if I start running out of yarn, I can make it shorter. And it is basically a sweater vest with buttons at the sides that is going to be great for layering in the earlier part of the season where, you know, like today, it was so chilly this morning when I went for my walk, I wore a sweater. It is now 72 degrees and I'm starting to feel warm wearing long sleeves. So this time of the year where it's cool in the morning, it's warm in the afternoon, this will be really nice for layering, I think. So, as I said, I've never knit any of her patterns before, but I understand that they are very well done and everybody seems to love them. So I have high hopes for that one. That is the Lulu Slipover. You can get it on Ravelry for about $7 US. All right, and then the other one that I've actually had in my queue for a while and I definitely want to make is the Rowena Jumper. This is a pattern by Fable Knitwear. I knit one of her sweater patterns last year, which has kind of a similar shape, silhouette, but that one was a thinner yarn and had a lace panel on the front. So you can see this is ribbing on the front, puff shoulder, a little bit of a classic vibe. And I already have the yarn for this as well. Stop it. And with gloss DK, I'm going to knit this in black because I want more wardrobe staples in my wardrobe. Things that just go with everything. I think this is a really good choice for that because, I mean, it's, you know, it's just kind of a basic turtleneck sweater. It is nothing fancy, and I mean, even in the black yarn, you're probably not going to be able to see much of anything at all, but I just think this is going to be such a good project to pair with almost anything throughout the fall and winter. So it is knit in a DK weight. That would be definitely something I'm going to save for a little bit later in the fall. I'm not going to be wearing that when the weather is still relatively warm, because a DK weight sweater that is kind of close fitting is going to be a little bit warm, especially a wool silk blend. It does have a little keyhole in the back, and it is recommended to knit to negative ease on this one. I will probably just do 0 ease. I don't want a super close fitting sweater. Although, you know, when you are creating garments that you want to layer, whatever is going to be kind of your bottom layer should definitely be a little bit closer fitting. So let's see, it's knit from the bottom up, which is not my favorite way to knit sweaters, especially raglan sweaters. But we'll just have to make do. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices to get the things that we want. I really do detest having to knit the sleeves separately and then join the whole thing. I really hate that. I hate that part, but I'll work through it. So again, this is the Rowena pullover. Great wardrobe staple. Depending on your color, is gonna just kind of go with everything. I love it. So you can get this on Ravelry for $7.69. And it is available in English and Norwegian. All right, these other patterns, will I make them? Who knows? But I just thought they really met the vibe of the mood board and would be cute for fall. All right, so this one is Snow Crocus. This is a pattern by Midori Hiros, Knit Cafe Midori. A couple years ago, I knit another one of her patterns, the Snowy Forest. This has a similar shape. It has a similar neckline, which just looks really cozy. It is nice and textured. This one is worked in a worsted weight yarn, so definitely something really for the late fall, winter time. Not something I'm going to be wearing in October, probably. A worsted weight sweater is just a lot of wool. So the recommended yarn is 100% Lana Merina Autochtona by D Lana. I don't know anything about that. It says it's worsted. It looks like it might be more like a DK. She has a ton of great tutorials right here on the pattern page on Ravelry, so you don't even have to download the pattern to get all of these wonderful tutorials. Okay, so the Lana Merino Autochtona is from Spain. Seems like it is probably more of a rustic yarn, and I don't think I would, that definitely would be, you know, definitely kind of a vibe for fall. But with all of the cabling and texture here, I think I might want something that is going to stand out a little bit more, have a little bit more definition, although it really looks fine in the picture. So also, I've never even heard of that yarn. I have no idea if I could even get it if I wanted it. So it's probably a moot point. There's plenty of worsted weight yarn out here. She has a bunch of lovely photos on here, different people wearing their own sweaters. She's really sharing lots, so you can get lots of ideas for that. This just looks so cozy, lovely. Like I said, for late fall. Probably you would not want to go too dark with the yarn, or it would obscure a lot of this cabling and the nice detail. But let's see, and the gauge is 15 stitches to the inch, and this looks like it's knit on a US 10. That seems like a very light yarn to knit on a US 10, but like I said, If you like your fabric and you get gauge so that your sweater comes out the right size, none of it really matters. So this is available for about $6.34 on Ravelry, and it includes English and Japanese. So again, that's the Snow Crocus pullover. All right, this one, I noticed in my mood board, I had a fair number of pictures that were multicolored. I am not a huge color work person. I do it. In fact, I'm working on my Great Gingham Raglan right now, but Fair Isle, I don't know, I just haven't done a lot of it, and I don't think it fits into my wardrobe as easily. It's hard to get kind of multicolored things that are gonna go with other stuff. But I did notice some multicolor stuff happening in my mood board, and so I thought this would be an interesting choice. That is not Fair Isle exactly, it's something else. So this is Moonlight Meadow. It does have a little bit of Fair Isle, or Stranded Knitting by Melody Hoffman. This uses DK weight yarns. And so you can see that it has some sort of stranded color work, but it also has these little cross kind of shapes in here that are something else. It's like wrapping stitches on the outside of your fabric to make that. So I thought that was kind of unique. I like that the Fair Isle patterns are small. There's no, it's not like a big all over motif where you're going to have lots of long floats. And it's not all over. You can see there's plenty of plain rounds, so it's not going to be completely, the inside's not going to be completely covered with your floats, which is nice. It can make a very warm sweater, but it can sometimes make a too warm sweater. So this pattern, let's see, a delightful mix of color work and texture. She uses some yarns that I don't know much about. Cyan DK by Uist Wool, which is a Cheviot, so that's a little bit of a rustic yarn. Yeah, so the yarns she uses here are pretty rustic, and I can see how that would really play well with this particular patterning. I might not use something quite so rustic. I just tend, rustic yarns, some of them I like, but some of them I just end up not wanting to wear too close to my skin. So I thought this was a unique take on kind of the Fair Isle color work, stripes, more subtle, and especially depending on the colors that you use, you could go for a very low contrast, so it'd be even more subtle. Again, a DK weight yarn with sort of these stranded stripes, and whatever's going on with the other part, probably going to end up being a pretty warm sweater, especially if you're using these kinds of rustic yarns. So something for the later fall, winter period, but I've had this queued for a while. I don't know if I will actually make it, we shall see. But I do like that sort of alternative to all over Fair Isle. So we'll see, but thought that was cute. That is, again, the Moonlight Meadow by Melody Hoffman. All right, and then the last knitting pattern I have is the Gentleman Cardigan. As you might imagine, with this name, it is intended for gentlemen, but I would like to have this for me. I would love to have this to wear around the house. So this is a pattern by Sasha Knits, and it is just lovely. The collar, the pockets, this is the perfect, you know, thing to be wearing around the house in the cooler months. So it is worked in worsted weight. It uses Woolfolk Far. I believe that's a pretty pricey yarn. I'm almost positive I would not use that. And probably I would have to make some adjustments for this to fit me as opposed to a man. You know, shorter armholes and shorter sleeves, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think this would be just such a cozy, a little bit kind of a grandpa style cardigan, but a little bit nicer, a tiny bit more fitted, a little more sophisticated, if you will. So it says it's a stylish and yet comfortable cardigan, worked in fisherman's rib, tailored shoulders, almost seamless pockets, tailored buttonholes, professional finish. One of my issues with this one, so the pattern is available in English and German. However, the Ravelry page does not tell you how much yarn you need. It says 1950 to 2750 yards, but it does not tell you the yardage you need for each size. I don't care for that. You should know how much yarn you need up front for your size. It does not give you a lot of details about the construction either. And there's no like external page that you can go check out to get more information. So that's really all this information here, and it's not very much. It says it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sizes. 46 is the smallest, and then it goes up to 56. So 5 sizes, 10-inch, that's not much. So I don't know much about the pattern itself. There simply isn't much here, although there's a lot of, from the people who have made it, it has some nice reviews, but I love the look of it. I don't know if I will ever actually make it, because I'm not, I don't know. I feel like there should be more information here for people who are interested, but whatever. So you can buy that for $11.50 on Ravelry. Again, that is the Gentleman Cardigan. All right, now I'm going to talk about sewing patterns. So if you are not a sewist or not interested in this, you can just skip ahead, till the end where I say please subscribe and all that stuff. So as I said, I've got a shirt, pants, a skirt, a dress, and a jacket. So let's start with the shirt. So this is the patina blouse. This is a pattern by Friday Pattern Company. And what I'm looking at this for is that I would like to make myself, and I already have fabric for this, a flannel shirt. But I don't want to use a plain old button-up, kind of men's shirt silhouette. I'd like something that's a little bit more girly than just kind of an oversized, frumpy flannel shirt. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for this one. Obviously, you could use any kind of fabric you want. A button-down shirt is always a good choice for pretty much any season because it can be layered so easily. You can keep the shirt open with a camisole underneath. You can have the shirt buttoned up. You can put a vest over it. You can put a sweater over it. Button-down shirts are always very versatile, but particularly for me, my thing here is maybe flannel. So we'll see. I don't know. So collared V-neck button-up top with full sleeves. It does include pattern includes short and long sleeves, and 2 neckline options. So I guess if you don't like the V-neck, you can opt for whatever the other option is, but it doesn't say what the options are. It just shows you the V-neck. This is obviously for woven. All of these are going to be for woven fabrics. I don't use knit fabrics. I don't have a serger. I barely hold knit together with woven fabrics at this point. I'm not ready to try any knit fabrics. And when I want knit fabrics, I knit. So all of these are woven. So I think this would be cute in, again, a flannel for fall, or maybe something else a little textured, like a very thin kind of velour velvety type thing, although that is usually knit, something like that. It does say, let's see, fabric recommendations, light or medium weights. Fabrics that would work well and look great include linens, cotton blends, double gauze, viscose, twill, brushed cottons, lightweight cotton denims, and so many more. Maybe a chambray. Anyway, so I think this is kind of a little bit of a girlier take on a button-up, button-down, whatever you want to call it, and very flexible and easy to layer for, like I said, pretty much any season. So this is a patina blouse. Friday Pattern Company, it is $16. Now, sewing patterns are different than knitting patterns is that they tend to have a lot of sizes. You don't usually have to worry about that kind of size inclusivity issue. So this pattern includes sizes from extra small to 7X. So, and the difference between each size is about 2 inches. So lots of sizes there. Again, patina blouse. All right, now to go with my patina blouse, maybe I need some pants. These are, to be honest, most of the fall and winter and most of the time I wear jeans. I don't wear a lot of other kinds of pants. If I'm at home, maybe, sweatpants or leggings, but when I'm out and about, I'm almost always wearing jeans. I don't have a whole lot of other kinds of pants, but I would like more pants that are, I think the trouble I have with pants is that everything seems to be, in terms of good fabrics for pants, everything's either like denim or twill, and I really hate twill. It's so wrinkly. It almost never looks good. Like you iron it and you put it on, and then the minute you sit down, it starts wrinkling. So I'm not sure what fabric I would use for these, but these are the Guys, I don't know how this is pronounced, pants. This is a pattern from Paper Cut Patterns, and you can see this has a really nice, you know, cute pleat detail on the front. It does have back pockets. I really hate pants without back pockets. I just think they look bad. Even if you're not going to put anything in those back pockets, I think you need them there. But the back waist is elastic, so that's a little bit more flexible. And it looks like they have a slightly cropped leg, which you could, you know, relatively easily adjust. Now this doesn't have quite as many sizes. It says it has 8 sizes from size UK 6 up to 20. It is also a little bit cheaper though. So this is a $13 pattern. Again, you get a PDF digital download. So it says, standout inverted pleats, zip flies, side front pockets, back welt pockets with button closure, and an elasticated back waistband. Let's see, recommended fabrics, mid-weight woven, cotton, silk, rayon, wool suiting, or lightweight denim. So I'm not sure where I would go in terms of fabric for this. I think corduroy is going to be too heavy. Maybe a pinwheel corduroy. I just love corduroy. I don't know why. I really don't. Maybe a pinwheel corduroy would work for this. It has to be something thin. But with some decent structure. You know, you don't want, like, linen is not going to work for this. It's going to be too floppy. So you kind of get a balance in there. But I think, you know, worked in the right fabric, these are going to be cute for fall and go with a lot of different stuff. You know, especially if you pick kind of a neutral color. I don't own any black pants, so maybe some black kind of fabric. So again, those are the Guys, I don't know, pants from Paper Cut Patterns. All right, if I'm not wearing pants, maybe I want to wear a skirt. This is a pattern I am definitely making. I already have the fabric for this. It is corduroy, of course it is. This is the Blair skirt. This is a pattern from True Bias. I basically have not this exact corduroy, but almost the same color corduroy as you can see in this picture. I love this. This came out last fall, I want to say, and I never got around to sewing it, so I'm definitely going to be sewing it this year. So it's a woven skirt, fitted through the waist and hips. It has a straight fit to the hem. It has a button front opening and belt loop, so that's nice. No zippers. I can do zippers, but they are stressful and can be tedious, so I love it when I don't have to. 3 lengths. I'm gonna probably do the mini, but maybe just a little bit longer. The midi is hitting at right below the knees. I don't think that's flattering, but the mini is a little short, so maybe something in between those two. And let's see, all views have optional pockets with inverted pleats and a belt, and the pockets are just so darn cute. I just love this. It's adorable. So cute. Like, wear it with boots for the fall. Put your cardigans on with it. It's adorable. Now, as I said, I have corduroy to make this, but it says medium weight woven fabric such as denim, corduroy, linen, and wool. It does have a lining. I usually just pick whatever's left in my fabric stash for a lining, usually like a cotton poplin, something thin, cotton lawn, and that's what it says. So cotton lawn, linen, and quilting cotton. I'm not worried about the lining. I bet that'll work. You know, I always have little bits of leftover fabric, so I'm sure I can find what. I don't even know. Do you need to line a corduroy skirt? I guess I'll find out when I start, but absolutely adorable. Love, love, love. So that is, again, from True Bias, Blair skirt, sizes 0 to 18. It is $16. Again, digital download. Most of these, I assume you could probably order a paper pattern or find it in your local sewing shop. I love paper patterns because then you don't have to get them printed, but I'm not going to order one paper pattern from an online shop. this doesn't make any sense when you do the shipping. So we did get somewhat recently a laser printer, which makes print at home a little easier for small patterns. I still will not do it for big stuff and just send it out to like PDF plotting, or there's another one I started using more recently that is a little bit cheaper. I can't remember what it is, but I'll put the link in the show notes. I think it's called Tape-Free Patterns, but I'll double check. I love dresses, and they tend to be the thing I sew the most, even though they're not the thing I wear the most. I don't know why. They're just always calling my name. So this, is a pattern from Deer and Doe, and I have used several other patterns and have always been very happy with them. This is the Bluit Dress pattern, and I think this would be so cute for fall. Really, and I got the fabric is actually on my mood board. It's like a blue maroon wool plaid. I think this would be so cute done in a plaid for fall. The fabric I'm looking at is like a wool acrylic blend, but I don't think I would use flannel, but even a cotton plaid, the herringbone, I think, even though it is a short sleeved, I think with the right kind of fallish fabric, this would be really cute for fall. This pattern includes sizes from 34 to 52. And so Deer and Doe is a little small on the pattern size range, because that is the finished garment bust. The largest is a 47 1/4. So it has this cute little buckle kind of detail in the back. You can put the cap sleeves on it, which I would definitely do. I love that cute whole button front. So I think this, again, is just adorable if you pick a fallish fabric, maybe something with a little bit of texture. It does say the pattern difficulty is advanced. I guess I'll find out why if and when I choose to make it. So it is a chic fit and flare shirt dress with curved shaping princess seams, traditional 2-piece collar, and button placket. And suggested fabrics: poplin, chambray, linen. As I said, I think I would go a little bit heavier, maybe making things a little harder for myself, but I think in a lightweight kind of wool blend plaid, this is going to be adorable. So you can find that online. The PDF, or in English and French, is $14. So Deer and Doe was bought out by Closet Core, so you have to go to Closet Core Patterns to find it, although probably the Deer and Doe website redirects there anyway. Really cute if you have something like a nice event in the fall. This would be maybe Thanksgiving. So cute. Love it. Love, love, love. All right, and to top them all off, this is did make it into my mood board as well. This is the Sven Jacket pattern. I'm gonna make this in corduroy too. I know, not the exact same color. I'm gonna make it in a light blue corduroy that I got, but corduroy nonetheless. So this is a pattern from So Liberated. I think this is just, you need a jacket for fall, and this is gonna go with pretty much anything depending on what kind of fabric you decide to make it in. So the midweight Sven Jacket is the ultimate chore coat grandpa cardigan mashup, featuring 12 mix and match pocket options. That's amazing, especially for women. We never get pockets. Casual functional jacket with a vintage academia vibe. Go to layering companion in the art studio at Used Bookshop on Main Street, or browsing your well-curated vinyl collection. It's a little over the top. Fabulously easy fit that layers gorgeously with your hand knit accessories and sweaters. She's a knitter, so. It has 2 lengths, optional underlining, and optional details like button tabs and a loop hanger. So cute. So let's see. As a regular hip length jacket, or a long mid-length thigh jacket, it has, like I said, a bajillion pocket options. It's got inside pockets, it's got outside pockets. It says it is suitable for intermediate sewists. We recommend medium to heavyweight woven fabric that has no stretch. Drape and hand of the fabric will impact the look of the final garment. Softer fabrics will fall more gently. More stable fabrics will emphasize the utility look. Some wonderful choices are canvas, denim, and twill. Lining can be added, but that's really just a personal choice. And so the red one in this photo is, it says a fine whale corduroy. So that is what I have got, I believe, and that is what I will be using to make this jacket. Need a jacket for fall, you know, especially it's not warm, it's not cold enough for your cardigan yet, but you need something, you know, a lighter weight jacket, not a heavy coat. If you make it a little bigger, then you can put it over your sweaters, your finer gauge sweaters. Just really versatile. I love this. So cute. Definitely. So that is one I am definitely making this fall. All right, so there you have it. 5 knitting patterns, 5 sewing patterns to inspire your fall and winter handmade wardrobe. I would encourage you, if you think it's something you might enjoy, to just give making a mood board a try. It can be really fun, really inspiring. And it can just help you get into the fall mood, especially if you're somewhere where the weather has not started to turn yet, or it started to turn and then it came back. Having the process of making the mood board and then just having it there to see, to glimpse at throughout your day can get you in the mood, even when the weather's not cooperating, because if you want to be able to wear these things in the fall, you really do need to start working on them now. Probably if you're knitting, you might have wanted to start a little earlier. I really should have too. But I am ready to cast on that Lulu slipover. That's ready to go at least, so I'll have something. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope you found it inspirational or useful or fun, and if you did, I hope you will give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. New knitting mostly videos here every Saturday. If you're looking for me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Meadow, and I will see you next time.